Somebody's coming into my room. I'm sorry. On a work call. Thank you. Sorry. It was the monkey.
Everything okay up there?
Yeah, everything's fine.
Want to get down to the tone because it's so specific.
Yeah.
You may think it's one kind of movie and then it surprises you with this sick sense of humor. How did you communicate that to your cast? How did he get you on board to explain that?
I mean, if I do anything right, if I can claim anything that I do right in this business, I think I write an okay script. And I think that the script has the ideas in it. I think the dialogue are the right words and they have a certain humor to them, and I think it flows. The intention was to make a Hollywood movie, like that felt like Gremlins, or felt like American Werewolf in London, or felt like Death Becomes Her. These were the touch-tone movies that I was after.
He himself was like a good reference for it, just in terms of like his sort of sense of humor and like serious, but also like has this mischief to him. But he definitely referenced Gremlins and Death Becomes Her as like kind of touchstones for this, which feels true, right? Yeah.
Yeah, Gremlins definitely, because it's another one where you're like, okay, this is like a kid's movie about a cute doll, but then it's just got this sick, twisted sense of humor throughout the entire thing. That is, it's truly chaos.
Yes, absolutely. And then like the Death Becomes Her kind of like heightened, but like real, but also like horrible things are happening, and it's very gruesome, but also played like straight. And that's what makes it so funny too.
Yeah, because there's this magical element that you just accept.
Yes.
The monkey can kill, you can live forever with the serum. Now let's have fun with all of the disgusting things that entails. Yeah.
Putting aside horror as it is, it's not a very scary movie to my mind. There's not a lot of terror in it. It's very cartoonish. It's very affectionate, nostalgic, and melancholy. And that felt just more sophisticated and like it expanded the genre a little bit and went for a laugh when you're not expecting it. Seems like a nice idea these days.
Indeed. Did he prep you, for what he was going for? I mean, did you have that good sense of what you were getting yourself into?
He prepped me, I tell you that. No, he didn't, because we had known each other. We had worked together developing something a couple of years before. I heard he was making this film, this adaptation of The Monkey. It sounded great, no brainer. I liked his stuff ever since Longlegs. The script was sent to me and I read it, and then we chatted, and I was like, oh, this is really funny. Am I right there? And yes, of course, that was the idea. You can't make a movie about a toy monkey without nodding towards its humor, should we say.
How does that align with your own sense of humor? Are you a sicko like the rest of us?
I'm a total sicko. For me, Shaun of the Dead was like a movie that really meant so much to me. When I first saw it, I was like kind of blown away because it did that same thing of like genre bending and sort of like being all things, completely honestly, like real horror, real comedy, real thrill.
What are you doing, you stupid moron? Off? You off! Off!
Somebody's coming into my room. I'm sorry. On a work call. Thank you. Sorry. It was the monkey. Seth is calling me, and I gotta go.
The idea is entertainment, but underneath that, there are some real themes. As an actor, having those kind of things to anchor you is really important, because there are themes of loss and generational trauma, and because you've got to play, as you said about tone, it's fun and it's ridiculous and it's a comedy, but also you've got to play some moments to be real. The relationship with the son has to be naturalistic and real, because otherwise you lose stakes. So it was great in that sense, and I loved the script from the get-go, really.
And then you're setting a lot of that tone, I feel like, with your narration, with kind of that sense of humor there that felt somewhat throwback almost. Like it felt like something out of like a 50s or 60s. Is there another film in that kind of DNA?
When I first started to write it, it was set in the 50s and the 80s, and I sort of was like, oh, but we've seen, the idea was we've seen that, but then ultimately it was like, yeah, but we've seen that. What ended up happening was I really loved the way the children especially spoke in the 50s, and I just moved it all over. So when Bill says something like about when he's sad about the babysitter dying, he says, I was going to marry that girl. That's a very 50s thing for me, I felt like. So I just sort of left those words in, and it just sort of became charming.
It does feel like a throwback. There's this kind of interesting, just like old Hollywood feel to it. I think it's coming from Theo's performance, his narration. Were there any kind of references that he mentioned in that way that, kind of harken back to the classic side of it?
Yeah, I don't know if that was like something I was super aware of, but I think in reading the script, it sort of works on you, in a way. His voice, Oz's voice in the piece is so, it doesn't feel like it's necessarily in this time. There's something kind of, like old Hollywood movie making sort of, and a little bit like arch, and a little bit like theatrical, and kind of like a real story. And I think that's also like down to the source material. Stephen King's short story has, like there's something about the monkey that has always been, it's not like, we're not like texting about the monkey. Like the monkey's always been. Do you know what I mean? So I think that sort of like eternal resonance of death always being something we've dealt with. We've always had case,
definitely always bigger than just that, one little monkey, that it just, the power that it controls, that it commands. Yeah.
Everybody dies, and that's life.
From the opening moments through that final head smash, the most creative deaths I've seen in a while. Was there one that you were particularly proud of, fond of, or, were there any that were really challenging to pull off?
I mean, you when you're working with great people and everybody wants their aspect of the film to shine, everyone's on board and everyone's bringing their best selves to all the gags, and everyone has great ideas and everyone's execution is really pretty flawless. The diver in the swimming pool at the motel really works well, I think. The Rube Goldberg effect is really fun. It's fun that these things are happening during a really essential phone call, so you're sort of looking over here while the other hand is kind of doing this. And then we did it practically. We did it in stages practically, and then we sewed it all together, so it looks pretty great.
There's one particularly that just like goes on forever. Just when you think you're like, oh, this is like the height of the kill, worse stuff happens. It feels very comedic in the sense of like layering on expectations, and like never giving in to the audience, being like, okay, that's it. Like it's very yeah, and I won't say which one it is, but it's Sarah Levy's.
I thought it might involve fire and a certain sign and some other amazing thing. Yeah, that one is the Rube Goldberg machine of murder that just kind of, by the final hit, you're just like, all right.
I love the button of the realtor. There's a great scene. She's a great comedic actress. She gets killed in a very visceral way. I'm covered in blood. And then you have a kind of comedic button where, the son's got his headphones in and he calls up to his dad, everything all right? And he's taking a finger out of his mouth going like, yeah, everything's fine, man, it's fine.
Yeah, everything's fine. There were so many that shocked me and surprised me. I think the Rube Goldberg, I think, is exactly the one I'm thinking. Sarah Levy's.
That's the ant. The Rube Goldberg I meant of the air conditioning falling into the pool with the thing.
Oh, right. And the explosion.
Rube Goldberg, the ant-itis is even more extreme than that, you're right.
Yes, I mean, just a wonderful, and then the cherry on top of that, once she gets outside, it's just so beautiful.
Also physically, impossible that you can impale your face.
Yeah, right. Yeah, I think that one was the big like shock. Although, it felt like we were already in good hands when Adam Scott in a mustache pops up in that first scene, and then somebody gets disemboweled in the coolest way I think I've seen in a while. I think that is, once you set that tone.
Yeah, I think it works. It's surprising, and like I say, all the deaths are comedic in the sense that none of them are actually possible ways for someone to die.
Oh, so if
that was a line that I didn't want to cross. It's like no one is ever going to come at me and be like, oh, but my aunt, Edna died. She had a harpoon take her guts out, and you're like, no, she didn't.
She exploded jumping into a swimming pool.
No, she didn't. Physics don't work that way. No.
Wait. I also want to talk about playing twins. So, where do you begin with creating two separate characters? Is there one that you felt like I can do this one? Once I nail this one, I can kind of expand to the other character? How do you approach that?
Not really. I mean, my sister has identical twin girls who I'm very close to, and I've watched them grow up since they were babies until now, as 10-year-olds. So I knew the idiosyncrasies of how identical twins interact, how they're very similar, but also how they're distinctly different people in every way. But I enjoyed both of them. Hal was always kind of 80s Tom Hanks, this beleaguered everyman, but with a slight kind of wink in the eye, a slight irony or resonance. And then Bill is, more like me, just like a
sort of a lusty child in a man's body.
Exactly.
Is that how you envision it as well? Is that how you how did the Tom Hanks in the 80s of it all
that was I mean the sort of Tom Hanks everyman thing is just sort of a really attractive entity on screen, right? That kind of like
and it's quite nostalgic
thing, and it felt like an older movie, like we said. And then just the idea that Bill would kind of fancy himself kind of a supervillain was funny to me.
Obviously, Orphan Black had you playing multiples. Did you have any advice to share with Theo, or did you talk about just the process of playing multiple characters?
I don't want to say too much about my interaction with Theo because I want audiences to just get to experience it all in the film. But with Christian, I said nothing and just sat in awe of his ability. Yesterday I referenced the twins. I was like, oh, it'll be nice to see the twins. They're so good in this movie. And then I was like, oh no, wait, they're not twins. Christian's. Wait, did I just?
I think you're just blowing my. I think you're blowing my mind.
Wait, you didn't know? No, he's one kid.
Oh my gosh.
Right. Exactly.
Okay.
And I still have to remind myself that he's so good. And the technical element of it was so because I've done so much of it on the other side where I'm having to keep in mind all of the things, blah blah blah. But to be the actor with him, I was like, you're so good at that. This is so much easier for you. And the technical stuff has come so far, with the split screen and it's just anyway, maybe we shouldn't even tell people that because it's so good, right?
Yeah, no, I was fooled. I honestly, I knew Theo was playing the double roles. They had promoted, but I didn't even. Yeah, he's great. That is so impressive.
I'm gonna tell him that. That's amazing.